What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some big news involving Elon Musk as we're seeing some more things coming out involving his role at Tesla. I'm going to break down some important things that President Trump just said about his tariffs, which could also affect Tesla in the markets, and what you should be watching for as time goes on for Tesla stock. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link or sign up with my QR code. Moomoo is an amazing global brokerage that consists of many exclusive offers. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000, you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends at the end of July, so check it out before they run out. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening to Tesla. So, when you zoom out of Tesla, the first thing you may notice that there could be a possible head and shoulders like pattern dragging Tesla down, but it's not 100% guaranteed as Tesla has not lost any critical support yet. It also hasn't broken resistance. We're kind of in the middle, going back and forth between the low 290s and the low 300s. Once again, just kind of chopping around. Now, if you look at the 30 minutes time frame, we're also very choppy right here. We haven't been able to break past 300 to be bullish, and we haven't really lost the low 290s to be bearish. We're still stuck in the middle. There is a possible head and shoulders, however, and I want to see Tesla get back above 300 to try to invalidate this. If we can't hold above 300, there's going to be a risk of this basically rejecting and coming back down because of a lot of news involving Elon Musk. I'm going to break down exactly what that is. So the first thing that's worth talking about is that the Tesla investors are asking the board to set a date for the overdue annual shareholder meeting. This is when they give us more insights about what's happening with the company in a big amount of things. There's also going to be things to be potentially voted for. So we're going to see how that goes for them. That is something that could be coming out quite soon, which is important for Tesla. And then on top of this, Dan Ives has been kind of criticizing Tesla to some extent. He's been talking about some things about how Elon Musk should be kind of like looked at. Some of his moves should be kind of like overseen by different board members. Musk responded and told Dan to shut up. So that's, Musk's response. This is making a lot of headlines right now. So it just goes to show it's very interesting. What's happening to Tesla is that there's a lot of fear right now because, Elon Musk is very involved in politics. He has lots of political ambitions, and we're seeing lots of board members who are criticizing him. Many of them are saying that Tesla's at a tipping point and that Tesla's heading into one of the most important stages of growth that we've seen when it comes to autonomous driving and robotics and etc. And that Elon Musk can't be spending more and more time creating a new political party, which is going to require countless time, energy, and political capital. So the Tesla board have spoken. Many important investors and analysts are saying Elon Musk needs to focus more on Tesla, be the CEO, or else many of them are asking him to resign. And I think that's part of why Tesla's showing some weakness compared to the markets. Tesla is seeing that their CEO just all over the place, and he's being asked to resign by many board members. Now, I would rather wait for earnings to see what he ends up saying. Does he address this? Does he talk about his time at Tesla? We have to wait and see. I also want to add that Elon Musk is a person that has, he gets distracted by a lot of different things. So when it comes to Elon, I've said this many times. I've been looking at his X page. There were lots of times when he was just talking so much about Tesla, tweeting so much about Tesla. You see all these posts about Tesla. Every single day, multiple posts about Tesla. Now, when I look at his X page, it's just all politics. And there's only like one post involving Tesla every 1 to 2 days. Mostly it's just, him talking about the US debt, his new political party, this and that. And I understand, right? He has the right to do that, but it kind of tells us that, he is very much involved in politics. He is putting his mind over there, and he's getting criticism for it, right? The investors, they want him to be more focused on Tesla itself, and we're going to see what ends up happening. How does the board kind of address this? What does Elon Musk have to say? Because you have to listen to his argument as well. That's why I want to wait and see what he says during the earnings report. What do we hear from Tesla? How are things going to go? Another reason why investors are so concerned is because Tesla's deliveries were not the best. They're down 13% year over year. And if you zoom in right here, you could see that for Q2 of 2025, the numbers are very low, right here compared to what we saw in Q4 of 2024, even like different periods of 2024 and 2023. The sales are not that strong for Tesla amidst a lot of the political scrutiny that Elon Musk is getting, and also because of high interest rates and other factors like that. So that's also what's affecting Tesla, at least for now. So that being said, that's what's really affecting Tesla. That's why Tesla's in this like consolidation phase. And we're going to be watching to see if this left shoulder, head, and right shoulder pans out, causing Tesla to dump. If we can't get back above 300, the odds do favor us dipping to the lower 290s. But if we do reclaim 300, we could be trying to push back up to invalidate this, because there are two perspectives. There's the head and shoulders that could make us a little bit more bearish. But at the same time, if we break this resistance, right now 302 is where the 20 EMA happens to be. If we break this, there's a giant gap to fill at 312, and that could launch Tesla higher if we get some good news. So it all depends on the news and what comes out. So please keep that in mind, especially as time goes on. That's very important for how Tesla's going to be moving. So with that being said, let's talk about President Trump and his tariffs. I'll give you guys a quick update on that. Then I'm going to break down more details about Tesla stock. We have a bearish setup for now, but we could try to invalidate this if it gets some good news. So what's happening to the markets? Don't forget that tomorrow is going to be Thursday, July 10th, 2025. In the morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have jobless claims, continuing jobless claims, and some important jobs numbers. Then we have some bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. So we're going to see what that leads to, at least moving forward. That's going to be very important for Tesla and etc. On top of this, we have some important things being said by President Trump. I'm going to make this part kind of brief. President Trump said that any country aligning themselves with anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. I'm talking about this again because he did repeat this. He was speaking about this today, how if countries are aligned with BRICS, they're going to be charged for that. He did say that. On top of this, President Trump did extend the tariff deadline officially to August 1st, 2025. And he did say that right over here, as per letters sent to various countries yesterday, in addition to letters that will be sent today, tomorrow, and for the next short period of time, the tariffs will start being paid on August 1st. There has been no change to the state, and there will be no change. In other words, all money will be due and payable starting on August 1st, 2025. So he's telling us that there's going to be an extension to the deadline, but now August 1st is when the money is going to be coming. He does not want to change that. He's given countries more time to negotiate. That's part of why I think the market is trying to bounce to some extent. And then on top of this, President Trump announced higher threats for tariffs for Brazil by 50%. We're talking about a 50% tariff for now he's talking about. Then he also mentioned that there could be higher tariffs to more U.S. trading partners. He mentioned that he wants to double the steel tariffs and aluminum imports to about 50%. So he said that for the tariffs. And then he's also talking about a 50% tariff on copper and a 200% tariff on pharmaceutical imports. But he said that he's going to give us 1.5 years for that. Then President Trump has been talking about how he's willing to negotiate with China, India, and many other countries. We are seeing the apparel imports from China falling to the lowest in 22 years as a result of the tariffs, which is why there is some need for a potential deal. So keep that in mind. That's what's happening, at least so far. Now, when it comes to deals, what is optimistic for the stock market is this right here. India and the US have a deal that's very close. They're in the first phase of completion, according to reports, and that could be announced very soon, today or tomorrow. That could be part of why the market's running. So there could be a very, very big trade deal with India. If that comes out, that could be impactful for Tesla, so keep that in mind. President Trump also criticized Jerome Powell, saying that he wants to replace him previously. He also said that our Fed rate is at least 3 points too high, and too late is costing the US $360 billion a point per year in refinancing costs. No inflation, companies pouring into America, and he's also saying that we're doing really well and that we should lower rates. Now, there is inflation, of course, and the Fed did address this during the FOMC minutes. So the Fed basically told us that basically there's lots of uncertainty with President Trump's tariffs and that we don't know exactly how things are going to go. They did warn us that there's a possibility of higher inflation during the summertime, but it's more likely to be more short-term than long-term, and the long-term inflationary expectations are at bay. So they're telling us that things are going to be okay for the long-term, but for the short-term, there's a heightened risk of higher inflation, so keep that in mind. On top of this, there's also been some news about how There's been a lot of criticism of Jerome Powell, but the Fed is repeating that what they're doing is necessary, and we have to see what happens with this inflation. What is good, though, is they're telling us that the inflation is more likely to be shorter term than longer term, and that is once again very important. Last but not least, for the stock market, right now, extreme greed is making up the majority of sentiment. Momentum is at greed. The put to call option ratio is at extreme greed and volatility is at neutral. So that's part of why the market's holding up the way it is. So that basically tells us that the market's doing well so far. But you have to be careful as we're at a risky place because typically when you're at extremes, that's when the market slows down, which shows the market could form a top as well very soon. So, that being said, what do I see for Tesla? There is a possible left shoulder, head, and right shoulder right here. We're also rejecting off our EMAs and dipping right over here. Now, if we keep rejecting like this, there's going to be a risk of Tesla dipping towards 292 or below if we keep getting bad news. But if in order for us to invalidate this, I first want to see us reclaim 300, then 303, this resistance right here to start pushing back up towards the highs. As of right now, I am seeing some weakness on the share price, so please keep that in mind. Zooming out and going to the 4-hour time frame, Tesla's also technically making lower highs here, but if we could get back above 303, we could bounce higher. And if we lose 292, we're going to be turning back down. As of right now, we're making lower highs, so we favor kind of like a bounce tomorrow morning, then potentially a dip to about 292 if things don't go right for Tesla. So please be very careful just to be safe as the downside risk is there, according to my analysis right now. So we're going to see, can we get back above 300 to be bullish? If we can't do that, we favor consolidation and attempts to dip towards the lower 290s. When it comes to other pieces of news, let me just say that right now, SPY and the QQQ are looking quite bullish. We're continuing to try to break out right here, and we could be looking for a test of all-time highs again on SPY, but it depends on some factors. If you're bearish, you want to see us lose 620. If 620 fails us on SPY, we're going to be dipping all the way down towards 617 or below. So please keep that in mind when it comes to our levels. If we're bullish, however, you want to see us basically continue to uptrend for 625. If that breaks, we're looking for the all-time high to be breaking. My guts tells me this is going to likely do something like this where it dips and starts pushing for the all-time high, and either we're going to break the all-time high at 626 or we kind of like dip from there. But I do think there's going to be a little bit more upside before it potentially either slows down or we break out from here. I also mentioned to you guys yesterday I was expecting SPY in the market to bounce a little bit, but I said this bounce will be temporary because I do expect a larger pullback in the month of August. So we're getting very close to the top, but for now we are still bullish just for the time being. Now for the QQQ, we're bouncing off this green line. We're bouncing, 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 and bouncing. So we're still looking more bullish. If you want to be a bear, you need to see the triple Q lose 552. If that fails us, we're going to be dipping back down towards 548. If you're a bull, you want to see us basically hold above 555. As long as that holds, we're going to continue to uptrend. My gut tells me what's going to likely happen is we're going to test this high up here. I think we retest the high. We may attempt to break it and we consolidate. It might try to break out if we get an Indian deal, but if it doesn't, we could reject here. So look for a little bit more upside towards 558. We're going to see if we break that or not. Then we may consolidate from there. On the IWM, the 4-hour remains more bullish as we have a much larger inverse head and shoulders. As you guys could tell, we're still holding up very, very nicely so far. There's also a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And the full measured move takes us up to 228 to 230. However, we might not just break out immediately. So if you want to be a bear, you want to see us lose 220. If that fails us, we're looking for 217. But if you're a bull, you want to see us basically uptrend, bounce off the trend line, bounce off the EMA, and continue to bounce off this to push for 225 plus. So keep that in mind, especially as time goes on. On ES, we're looking more bullish. Now, if we end up losing 62.85, we're looking for a dip to 62.50. And as long as we're above our key supports, we're going to be favoring an attempt to go higher. My guts tells me that this is resembling a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And this could be dipping right here before it continues to push higher and once again go for all-time highs. ES still looks a bit more bullish in my personal opinion. NQ is looking more bullish. As you guys can tell, we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And we could be looking for a move to 23,100 or above. If we lose 22,950, we're looking for a dip back down to our 50 EMA. But as long as we hold these EMAs, we're favoring upside for 23,100 and plus. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin's looking more bullish, favoring 112,500. If we lose 110,000, we're looking for a dump. But as of right now, we look more bullish, and I think we're doing a fantastic job at holding up. So that's going to be very key for how we end up moving. For now, we do look more bullish, and I think we're holding up quite well. For others out there, when it comes to our overall levels, we also have Tesla and Nvda. Like I said before, Tesla's kind of choppy here. It might try to rebound in the morning, but there is going to be a risk of rejection if we can't hold above 300. That's going to be very key for Tesla. Nvidia hit a $4 trillion market cap. It's holding up very nicely, but if we lose 159, we could turn right back down. As long as we're above 159, we're favoring 165 to 166 for new all-time highs. In my personal opinion, I think that Nvidia is looking very resilient, very bullish so far. For Apple, we're looking a bit more bullish. Now, if you want to be a bear, you want to see Apple basically fail at 209. If that fails us, we could be retesting 206 or below. But my guts tells me this might be retesting 209, then bounce and start pushing back up towards 214. Netflix looks more bullish to me. As long as we don't lose 1286, we're favoring 1300. If we end up losing basically 1280, we could turn back down to lower levels. But for now, we're favoring an attempt to get back up towards the 1300 area. So we still look more bullish on Netflix. For MSTR or MicroStrategy, we're also looking more bullish. In my personal opinion, I think we're holding support very well, and there is some potential upside potential here. Now, if we end up losing 400, this could turn back down, but as of right now, we're technically favoring the upside potential, so we could be making higher highs and higher lows. And this could be favoring the 420s, especially as time goes on. For Celsius, we're going to try to hold 45.89. If we lose this, this could be dumping a lot more. As long as we hold this, we're going to be favoring an attempt to get back up towards the 47 area. So I think we're doing a great job. For Supermicro, we look pretty good right now. Nice looking triple bottom. This also looks like a potential flag breakout. So you could draw out a flag like this. Just like this, as long as we're above these levels, I think we're looking pretty good on Supermicro. I want to see it lose 48.5 if you want to be a big bear. And as long as we don't lose that, we're favoring 50, then 51.5 or above. It's favoring the 50s, looks pretty bullish to me. No sign of rejection quite yet. Palantir looks bullish as long as you don't lose 140. This is favoring a dip in an attempt to get back up to 145 to 146. It's still bullish. It's also stair stepping its way up like this, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and higher lows. But keep in mind, guys, we're at a very, very high valuation. So, this isn't the most ideal place to buy shares long term. You want to buy them during nice dips. We're not ready for that yet. Rivian as a left shoulder, a head, and like a right shoulder like pattern. If we lose 12.8, we're looking for a dump, but as long as that holds, we're favoring 13.38. For SoFi, we're making higher highs and higher lows, and as long as we continue to do this, we're going to be favoring 21 plus for more upside. AMD is looking more bullish, nice double bottom here. So long as we don't lose 136, we're favoring 142 plus. ARM is looking bullish. We're kind of consolidating right here. Sorry, it's looking a little bit more bearish. I apologize for that. We could be dipping to about 145, and we're going to see if it bounces off that. But I do see some weakness in this, looking at this head and shoulders and the rejection we're getting. So look for a test of 145 and see if we bounce or not. When it comes to others such as PayPal, we're also range bound right here. We have 75 as resistance and 74.5 as our support. I think it's going to be testing 74.5. We need to hold that. If we don't, there's going to be a risk of us dipping towards that 73 area. On Coinbase, we look more bullish. We're favoring the attempt to go back up towards 380 plus. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure favoring the 380s. So this is looking a bit more bullish to me in my opinion. Amazon looks decent. It might be dipping to 221. We have to see if it bounces. The overall setup is bullish. When you zoom out, it's still bullish. Could dip to 221 as long as we don't lose 219. It might be a small dip before it tries to bounce for the 223 area. Meta has support at 723 and 716. We could be dipping towards 730 to 725. We're going to see if we bounce off that. Look for a small dip and see if buyers defend. Google has support at 177 to 176. It could be dipping here. We're going to see if we bounce or not. And then Microsoft looks bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. So long as we don't lose 497, we're favoring an attempt to push towards 505. Also, DJT is looking bullish. So long as we don't lose 18.7, we're looking for basically the 19s. The VIX is rejecting here, making lower highs, and this is bullish for stocks. The 10-year is dipping, so is the dollar. We're all showing some weakness right here, so please keep that in mind. Anyways, with that being said, guys, I just wanted to say that we're looking quite bullish right now. I think the market's doing a good job. Might dip a little bit before it tries to continue this pump. I don't think we're done quite yet. It also depends on what President Trump and the others say, and I can't make promises about that. So watch your levels just to be safe, but keep in mind the charts still look more bullish. Tesla may also try to push for that 298 to 300 area tomorrow morning, but I am a little concerned because we're so far rejecting off these EMAs. We're not doing the best of jobs at holding above them. So if it does push higher, I need to see it get back above 300 to bounce higher. If we come short, If we hit 298 and reject, this could continue to fall down in this head and shoulders like pattern. So keep that in mind. There might be a bounce tomorrow morning followed by downside if we don't get that breakout. We'll see what the news says about Tesla, what President Trump announces about tariffs. Once again, we can't always predict those things, but I'll do my best to be very unbiased about my analysis and kind of break down the technicals, which do give us lots of insights about what could end up happening. So that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a very awesome rest of your guys' days. And I'll be back with another upload tomorrow morning before the market ends up opening. Don't forget, there's some data coming up, but it's quite minor. It's nothing way too significant. So we're going to have to see how it goes from there. Anyways, I thank you for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, night, or evening, wherever you guys are around the world. And I'll be back very soon with another update. Thank you for listening. See you guys tomorrow, and peace out.